What if I told you that one of the single best case studies on management you'll ever find isn't from some fancy business school, but from a text that's over 3,000 years old? Well, today we're digging into an absolutely classic story of leadership, burnout, and a surprisingly brilliant organizational redesign. Yep, we're talking about Moses the manager.
So let's just get right into it. What is the oldest management advice in the world? I can tell you, it's not from some modern-day tech billionaire or a best-selling business book. No, it's hidden in a story about a leader who had this incredible vision, but was frankly drowning in the day-to-day operations. That is, until he got some advice that completely changed the game.
So where does our story begin? Not in a high-tech office park or a boardroom, but out in the middle of the wilderness. Moses has just pulled off this monumental success, but as we're about to see, that very success is pushing him right to his breaking point.
Okay, so try to picture this scene. Moses has just done the impossible. He's led the Israelites out of Egypt. They're all camped out in the desert. It really should be a moment of pure triumph, right? And on a personal level, it is. His family finally shows up. His wife, his 2 sons, and, crucially for our story, his father-in-law, Jethro. It's this wonderful family reunion after so much hardship.
But that moment of calm, it doesn't last long. It gives way almost immediately to a full-blown professional crisis. The very next day, Jethro, the father-in-law, sees something that sets off major alarm bells, which brings us right to Section 2, the problem of one.
And this is where the power of an outsider's perspective just hits you like a ton of bricks. Jethro, see, he isn't caught up in all the day-to-day chaos. He's just watching. And what he sees is his son-in-law, this great visionary leader, trying to be the only judge, the only decision-maker for an entire nation of people. You have folks lining up from sunrise to sunset, just waiting for a minute of his time. Moses has turned himself into the ultimate bottleneck.
And you can see exactly where this is headed. It's a recipe for disaster. On one side, you've got this impossible workload, one guy trying to solve every single little problem. And on the other side, the toxic results. A leader who is about to completely flame out, a public that's frustrated and wasting their entire day, and a system that is fundamentally, totally broken. It just cannot work long term.
And this is the moment everything changes. Jethro doesn't beat around the bush. He gives Moses the kind of brutally honest feedback that every leader desperately needs but almost never gets. He just comes right out and says it. What you are doing is not good. He points out that it's not just bad for Moses, it's actually hurting the people he's trying to lead. And then he delivers the final blow. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone.
Now, here's the key. Jethro doesn't just show up, criticize everything, and then leave. No, he doesn't just identify the problem, he comes with a solution. And that brings us to Section 3, a brilliant blueprint for governance.
What Jethro lays out here is basically a masterclass in effective management. It is a simple 4-part strategy designed to turn Moses' chaotic one-man show into a scalable, effective organization. It's not about just getting a little bit of help. It's about building an entirely new and durable system from the ground up. Okay, so let's break down this blueprint. Step 1, select. You have to be incredibly intentional about choosing the right people. Step 2, appoint. Create a clear structure, a real chain of command. Leaders for groups of thousands, hundreds, 50s, and even 10s. Step 3, and this is so important, empower. You have to actually let them do the job. Let them handle all the straightforward cases. And finally, Step 4, escalate. Create a clear, simple path for only the trickiest problems to make their way up to you.
And get this. Look at the hiring criteria Jethro lays out. He doesn't just say, hey, go find some smart people. He puts a huge emphasis on character. Sure, they have to be capable, but they also have to be trustworthy, they have to be principled, and I love this part, they have to be people who hate corruption, who hate dishonest gain. He knew, even back then, that a healthy organization is built on a foundation of integrity.
And Jethro sells this plan perfectly. He frames it as the ultimate win-win. First, for Moses, that will make your load lighter. It's the solution to his burnout. But just as important is the second part, and all these people will go home satisfied. The new system will actually serve the people better. Justice will be faster, it will be more effective, it's better for the leader, and it's better for everyone else.
So, advice is one thing, but actually putting it into practice, that's everything. So how did Moses respond to all this? Well, that brings us to Section 4, delegation in action.
This right here, this short, simple sentence, might just be the most profound leadership lesson in the entire story. Moses listened. Think about that. He had the humility to hear that there was a better way, and he had the wisdom to actually do something about it. He checked his ego at the door for the good of his people and, honestly, for his own sanity.
And here it is, the brand new org chart. You can see the pure genius of Jethro's tiered system. All the simple cases get resolved quickly, right there at the lowest level. Bigger issues can get escalated up the chain if they need to. And Moses? He's now at the top, finally freed from the daily grind so he can focus on what only he can do, handle the really tough cases, and provide that high-level visionary leadership.
So let's just visualize the before state. I mean, everything was in the red. Moses' workload was completely off the charts, the people's wait time was just painfully long, and the overall efficiency of the whole system, it was at rock bottom. It was broken.
And now look at the after. It's just a night and day transformation. Moses' workload is now totally manageable. People get their problems solved quickly, and system efficiency, it shoots straight through the roof. By empowering other people and actually letting go of some control, he achieved so much more.
So what does all this ancient story from the desert, have to say to managers, to founders, to leaders like you today? All right, let's bring it all home in our final section, the 3,000-year-old management lesson.
I mean, it's just amazing how relevant these takeaways are. First, no leader, I don't care how talented you are, can do it all alone. Second, delegation is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom and strength. Third, great leaders don't just work harder on their to-do list, they build effective systems. Fourth, hire for character and integrity, not just raw talent. And finally, you have to actively seek out that Jethro perspective. Find someone who isn't stuck down in the weeds with you every single day.
You know, in the end, it really all comes back to this one number. The problem of one. The incredible danger of being the single point of failure, the only decision maker, the bottleneck. This ancient story gives us the timeless solution. You have to build a team. You have to empower them. And you have to trust the system you've built together.
And that really brings us to our final question. And this one's for you to think about. Moses was smart enough to have a Jethro in his life, and he was humble enough to listen. So my question is, who is the Jethro in your work or in your life? Who is that person who can see the things that you can't? And maybe more importantly, are you ready to listen?